It's a long and tedious process, but when the leak is finally plugged, the work is far from over. Buildings must be dried out and restored to safety and checked for toxic chemicals that may have been left behind. Tonight, Channel 2's Elizabeth Vargas tells us what happens when the water is gone.
The water, I suspect, at the point of entry was very high.
They are experts in the power of water.
We start to look for cracks in the concrete slab.
The power to destroy. Not until basements are drained, until they are clear of the murky Chicago River, will anyone know just how much is lost.
Sitting in a basement for 2 weeks, the water has a chance to soak into various materials into the basement area. We're talking about soaking up in the drywall that will totally destroy the drywall partitions. It soaks into masonry. It's going to take an awful long time to dry out the masonry.
Once the water is drained out of the countless basements in the loop, architectural and engineering experts will have to come and inspect each and every basement, checking for cracks in the walls and for floors that are buckling.
What we'll be looking for once this basement dries out is the effects of the weight of this water on top of the floor slab. Because for every foot of water that you have in here, that's about 64 pounds a square foot. So if you have 10 feet of water, that's 640 pounds a square foot, which far exceeds what the floor was designed to take.
The floors could be buckling.
The floors could be buckling.
Once the buildings are declared safe, the long process of drying them out begins. It is not enough to stop the flow, to drain the water. We're looking at 2 weeks now of flooding. 2 weeks possibly before they get the water out of these buildings. How much longer after that until everything's dried out and life is back to normal for these people?
That's going to be a real tough call. I would say in a building the size of this, 10 to 14 days to dry.
That's after the water's out.
After the water's out.
Dale Glanz has already begun vacuuming out the moisture, and Carson Peary Scott, huge yellow hoses pour dry air in and flush moisture out.
This is where we take the outside air into the machinery. Whatever the moisture level in the air is, it then goes through the machine to a desiccant dehumidification wheel.
Making it like a desert.
It's a big sponge. And all we're doing is changing the air. That's all we're doing.
Exchanging moist air for dry air.
Exactly.
The water can eat away at buildings and everything inside, causing corrosion to metals and wiring. Mold and mildew can form in walls and floors. Material damage to many boilers that have been submerged, and structural damage to walls and floors. Engineers are also concerned about the velocity of the water when it gushed through loop basements. The power probably damaged walls as the river rushed through. They are also concerned about the hundreds of workers who have waded through the murky floods. Hundreds have been getting tetanus shots. As the water sits, the bacteria in it grows and could cause infections. Each and every building will have to be sanitized with chlorine and ventilated to remove harmful germs.
In food establishments, we want to be sure that the surfaces that contact food and so forth are properly cleaned and properly sanitized. We wouldn't want to have any cross-contamination.
The Great Chicago Flood is far from over. The cleanup work, the job of measuring its damage, has not even begun. Elizabeth Vargas, Channel 2 News.
It's been an extraordinary week in Chicago. Up next, some final thoughts on 5 days that brought Chicago's loop to its knees.